Hello everyone, back into B4 Winter 2020-21 Update Part 2. So we released Part 1 yesterday on Sunday, and of course that was looking at things like solar activity, sea surface temperature, anomalies, ENSO, Eurasian snow cover, and all of that kind of thing. And we released that yesterday on Sunday. So this is Part 2, this is for the analogues, and we're beginning to get our September analogues together now. We can't show you September CET or rainfall data yet, because we don't know where the CET is going to come in this September, and we also don't know what the precipitation is going to be this September, although we do know it's been a very dry September. But we wait to see, like the confirmed numbers. But what we can show you for this one is winters following Septembers that reach both 30 degrees or more, and also winters following Septembers that reach minus or drop to -4 degrees or lower. Been a very, very strange September this, with quite extreme heat on one hand, but also in more recent days or nights, quite extreme cold as well. And so it can be quite an interesting update, I think, with winters following both very hot temperatures and also really very cold temperatures in September. And I shall get on that for you very short. Just say, and of course, with the long range stuff, this is going to be quite a long video. So if you can't watch it when you go, then don't worry. It will be kept at website GavsWeatherVids.com indefinitely. I'll place it on the winter updates page for you tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, and there'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. So you'll be able to have a read of a written summary and watch the video on demand at website and at the YouTube channel whenever you would like to do that. It's absolutely great. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. If you haven't seen part 1 of the 4th Winter Update yet, then please check that out. It's on the channel and also on the Winter Updates page. And it's a really good watch. I was very, very happy with how part 1 of the 4th Winter Update came out. I think we're firing on all cylinders now. So have a look at the 4th Winter Update if you haven't yet done so. Got to say a big thank you to my good friend Richard Trott for the Winter Updates gift. Of course, it's a superb gift, lovely gift. And I know a lot of you enjoy a little snowman as well. So yes, thank you so much to Richard for the gift. Also, got to say thank you to Shryan, my good friend Shryan Bruin, who has been helping out on winter updates, and particularly with this one, getting the years together, the relevant years for this temperature data. So thank you so much to Shryan. If you enjoy winter updates at the moment, please click like on the video. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure to subscribe to GavsWeatherVids YouTube channel on the grind to 8k subs. So please, if everybody could do that, would be absolutely great and absolutely fantastic. I think that's pretty much everything that I've got to tell you. So without further ado, let's get on with the 4th Winter 2020 update, Part 2. So, as I say, we can't show you the CET yet. We do know that the central temperature for September 2020 is currently standing at 14.7. That's provisional to the 26th of September, an anomaly of just over 1 degree above average. That's as much as we know right now. And, of course, in a couple of days' time, we will know exactly where the CET for September 2020 came in. So we can't do that yet. We'll do that next week. But we do know that this has been a very strange September in that it has had really very hot temperatures with 30 degrees Celsius being achieved. But it's also been quite cold, particularly in more recent days. And the temperature in more recent days has dropped under -4 degrees Celsius across the country. So we have had some quite extreme temperatures in this September. So what we're going to look at first of all is winters following Septembers that reach 30 degrees Celsius or more. So all of these winters are following Septembers that had a temperature within them of 30 Celsius plus. So the first, these are all from 1900 as well, by the way. We're not going back into the Victorian era, into the 1800s with these. So our first winter is the winter of 1906-1907. This follows September 1906, which of course famously reaches an incredible 35 Celsius on the first day of the month and brings up the plus 20 Celsius isotherm. Incredible heat to start September 1906. So the winter of 1906-1907 looks like this. It has above average heights out to our west, and it has below average heights to the north and also to the south and the southeast. It's generally quite a mild winter, although it does have a cold Christmas in 1906, but it's even a little bit of a white Christmas in 1906. But generally, the winter of 1906-1907 is quite mild. Next, we have winter of 1911-1912. This one, again, with deep low pressure out to our west and bringing in this strong westerly wind. So this is a mild and wet winter in 1911 to 1912. Mild, wet, and Atlantic driven. Our next winter is 1919-1920. So this one, again, it does have a very hot first half to September 1919, but also a really cold second half. More about that later. But for this, we're looking at, of course, winters following September's reached 30 degrees or more. So winter of 1919-1920 is mild and Atlantic driven again, bringing strong westerly winds with below average heights, low pressure to the north, and above average heights, high pressure to the south of the country. Next up, we have 1926-1927. This is a rather quiet winter with above average heights in off the Atlantic into the UK. So this is kind of a nondescript type winter, a little bit of a forgotten winter in 1926-1927. A fair amount of dry weather and, again, pretty mild as well, I think. Quite a mildish winter, that one. So a little bit of an error there. So this is 1921-1922. So this should have come first, actually. So we should have done 1921-1922 first. Sorry, I've got made an error getting these charts loaded up. So 1921-1922 comes first. This is a mild and wet winter in 1921-1922. And then we've got 1926-1927, which should have come afterwards. This is a relatively quiet anticyclonic and also probably quite mild winter. Then we have a long gap then. We have a long gap through to 1940, 1941. This is one of those very cold early 1940s winters. This is the first cold winter that we've seen. So there's a trilogy of cold winters starting with 39, 40 and ending with 41, 42. This is the middle winter of the trilogy, 1940, 1941. Again, this is another cold winter, particularly so in January, with a below average heights and low pressure to the south of the country, blocking high pressure up towards Greenland. Winds are in from an east or northeast direction. That's our first cold winter within this package of analogues. Our next winter, following a September with 30-degree temperature, is the winter of 1949-1950. Of course, there's a very warm September in 1949. The winter of 49-50 is generally mild and Atlantic-driven, bringing in the winds from the west with low pressure sitting to the west and to the north of the country. Then we have 1954-1955. This is another cold winter. So this one, again, with the below average heights over and to the south and the east of the country, blocking up towards Greenland. Winds again coming in from a northeasterly to easterly direction. That one, again, is a cold winter. It's mild in December of 1954, but January and February of 1955 are regularly cold and snowy. And then we have winter of 1959-1960, of course, following a very extended summer in 1959, which did go on into September 1959. The winter of 59-60 is again mild, wet, and Atlantic-driven, so that is another mild winter starting off the 1960s. 1961-1962 is our next winter with above average heights away to the northwest and below average heights to our east. This is sort of a teaser winter. This, of course, is the winter before the daddy of cold winter, 62-63. This one does have a little bit of cold weather in there, especially so late December around Christmas of 1961. There's a very cold and snowy spell between Christmas and New Year. And it gets generally mild and quite stormy through January of 1962 and early February before it goes really cold again late in February in 62. And March 1962 is a very cold and wintry month. So it does have its moments, this one. But generally, of course, vastly overshadowed by the next winter, the daddy of cold winters in 1963. Then we have 73-74. This is just a mild, wet and windy winter. This one again, Atlantic-driven low pressure in off the Atlantic, being mild, wet and windy weather in the winter of 1973 and 1974. Another really long gap then. The next time we get 30 Celsius heat in September is in 1999. A very long gap from 73 to 99. This one, the winter of 1999-2000, the first winter of the millennium, is again mild and Atlantic driven with high pressure to the south, to the southwest, low pressure to the northwest. In come the westerlies, in comes the zonal flow, mild, wet and windy in the winter of 99-2000. 2006, 2007 showing up next. This is another mild winter, although this one is generally not as unsettled. So it does have some quite wet weather at times, but the high pressure is close to us to the southwest. This is an exceptionally mild winter, 2006 and 2007, and yeah, it does have quite a bit of wet weather in there, but there's also extended dry periods too. And then we've got 2013, 2014. So this one is, of course, the Atlantic Unleashed. This is a very, very stormy, very mild winter in 2013, 2014, with just repeated deep areas of low pressure, bringing in stormy weather in 2013, 2014. Then we've got 2016, 2017. This is a very mild but anticyclonic winter with an area of high pressure pretty much over top the country, so really nondescript with this one, and just very, very dry and mild in winter of 2016, 2017. Right, so putting all of that together, this is how all Decembers combined are looking, following a September with 30-degree temperatures or more. And we see that for December, it's a mild Atlantic-driven signal with low pressure over and to the north of the country. High pressure is out to the west. In come the westerlies. So, yes, mild, wet, windy December is favour. All January's combined look like that, a little bit more interesting. We do increase the blocking signal to some degree to our north. However, overall, it's relatively weak northern blocking. So overall, a relatively unsettled and probably not overly cold January would be expected with that one. All February's combined also looking very wet and unsettled. So again, we've got deep low pressure over and to the west of the country. In come the westerlies and southwesterlies. Once again, there is a little bit of blocking up towards green, but it's very weak. So generally, these are looking like mild winters on the whole, and quite wet winters too. Perhaps a little bit more interesting for the all Marches combined, with higher pressure beginning to build up somewhere between Iceland and Norway, lower pressure down to our south. So we could bring in cold easterly winds with that, but equally we could pull up like mild southerlies to southeasterlies. But at least the blocking signal is increasing to some degree in March. So out of all of the months, March could hold a little bit more wintry potential. However, overall, these winters, this is all winters combined, following September's, with temperatures reaching 30 Celsius or more. more looking like this, and they do look very mild and Atlantic driven. Low pressure is over UK and through Northern Europe, incoming westerlies. So yes, we can't see anything else other than these winters are favouring mild, wet and windy winters. You know, these winters following September's with 30 degrees or more. Right, so that's the first batch of analogues. I'm going to pause the video there, and when we return we're going to do it all over again, but this time we're going to look at winters following September's with very cold temperatures going down below -4 degrees, because we have had that in September 2020. So as well as the heat, we've also had the cold in this September. So more about that very shortly. You go and get yourself a cup of tea and a few nibbles, and we shall meet back in around 2 seconds time, and we're going to look at some more September to winter data. I'll see you soon. Okay, we're back. And we're ready to resume the 4th Winter 2021 Update Part 2. So if you've enjoyed this video so far, please give us a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and let us know in the comments what you think. And yeah, we're going to crack on with Part 2 of the 4th Winter 2021 Update for you right now. So we're looking at September data, of course, at the moment. And we will do so again next week, when we'll be able to look at the central temperature. We'll be able to give you the finalised CT for September 2020 on Thursday, I think, and so we will be able to look at September CT data for next week's winter update. But at the moment, we don't know where the CT is going to come out for this September. We do know that we're currently standing provisional, when I'm doing a video anyway, at 14.7. That's provisional to the 26th of September. It's going to come down more than that because we have had some quite cold weather actually in the past few days. So in the first part of this video, we was looking at winters following September's that reached 30 Celsius or more. But as I say, because we have done that for this September, but also we have had appreciable levels of cold weather in the past few days as well, and minimum temperatures have dropped to -4 Celsius or lower. I think that we have actually dropped down to -5 with this September, can you believe? And so for this second batch of analogues, we're going to be looking at winters following September's with temperatures dropping to -4 degrees Celsius or lower. So let's get on with it, and here we go again. Now, we saw this one in the first part of the video. It's the winter of 1919-1920. So September 1919 was an incredibly, it was an incredible month of both very hot temperatures and also very cold temperatures too. And so, yes, we've got winter of 1919-1920 showing up here following a September with a minimum temperature of -4, so or lower. And again, just a reminder of this winter, we saw it in the first batch of analogues, but here it is again with low pressure to the north and high pressure to the south, and in come these westerly winds once again. A mild, wet, windy, Atlantic driven winter for winter of 1919-1920, following a cold autumn in 1919. Next up, we have 1942-1943. This one, again, with low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south. So, again, income westerlies for winter of 1942-1943. That one brings to an end the trilogy of cold winters, of course. There's a trilogy of cold winters, I said in the first part of the video, from 1939-1940 to 1941-1942. 3 cold winters in succession. This one, 42-43, is a mild, wet winter and brings to an end the trilogy of cold winters in the early 1940s. Then we've got winter of 1948-1949. So this one tending to have higher pressure over into the south of the country, lower pressure up to the northwest. This is a milder wind. This is a mild winter, but it's also a drier winter with much more of an anticyclonic signal for the winter of 1948-1949. This is our first colder winter. This is 6970, with above average heights to the north and to the northwest, below average heights to our south and southeast, incoming winds from an east or northeasterly direction. Now, this is a late starter, so generally the winter of 6970 is quite mild early on, but as it progresses, it gets colder through January, through February, and particularly late February and into March 1917. Very cold and very snowy later on in winter. So this is a backloaded winter, what we call a backloaded winter, with most of the cold and snow coming towards the back end of the winter. Then we have 74-75. This is a dry and mild winter. This is the beginning of the Great Drought, of course, from the middle of the 1970s. So the first dry of an average season is actually 74-75, with the above average heights building to our south, the jet stream being pushed northwards. So the first dry season of that sort of great drought period of the middle 1970s is the winter of 74-75, a dry and mild winter with that one. 75-76 next. Again, this is another very dry winter, above average heights, high pressure over to the west of the country, below average heights up to the north, jet stream pushed north. That's another dry and very mild winter for 75-76. 79-80 next, 1979-1980. This one has a lot of northern blocking. It's a very strange winter, has a lot of northern blocking, but despite that, it's actually a relatively mild winter with winds coming in off the Atlantic. We never quite are able to tap into the cold weather that you will think we would be able to tap into with so much northern blocking. So that's a very strange winter in 1979-1980. Generally mild, but with northern blocking as well. I think there are some cold snaps, but given the northern blocking, not as cold as you might think. Now, this is a true cold winter. This is 1986-1987. Again, following September with temperatures of -4 degrees or lower. There's a very cold September in 1986. The last time we had a September CT in the 11s was actually September 1986. Of course, the winter of 86-87 contains that tremendous freeze-up, has a tremendous freeze-up in January of 1987. Possibly the coldest temperatures recorded in the UK since 1740 during January 1987. And you can see why as we bring in those easterly winds with low pressure to our south and southeast. High pressure is out to the north and to the northwest. It's not continuously cold though. December 1986 is actually quite mild. And like February 87 is a little bit on off with the cold, but generally not overly cold in that month either. The cold really for this winter is focused on January, especially the first half of January and the middle part of January 1987. Then we have 1993-1994. This is a mild, wet and windy winter, really, bringing in the west seas. Although it does have cold snaps. There are cold snaps in winter of 93-94, especially so around Christmas of 1993, and then particularly so in February of 1994, particularly so in the middle part of February 1994. However, there are prolonged and protracted periods of mild, wet and windy weather in this winter as well. They have 2010-11. Look at this. The December to remember is turning up. So, above average heights, of course, to our north, below average heights to our south. Now, given how extreme cold the weather was and the extreme levels of blocking that we had in 2010, you would probably expect that to look more dramatic. But remember, the second half of the winter of 2010-2011 goes very mild. February 2011 is very mild and also quite Atlantic driven. So that's why the blocking signal for the winter overall is not that impressive. But of course, this does contain the December to remember. It is a cold and average winter with our coldest December for the CT region since 1890. Absolutely incredible. And then lastly, we have 2012, 2013. So the last time September had minimum temperatures of -4 degrees or lower was in September 2012. The winter of 2012-13 is also a cold winter with above average heights blocking to the north of the country and below average heights to our south and southeast. It's suddenly got a lot more interesting, hasn't it? And bringing in the winds from the east. Remember, with this one, the cold is particularly focused on January, February, and especially in March. So regularly cold and wintry during winter of 2012-2013. Right, so let's put all of that together. So this is how all Decembers combined are looking following a September with a temperature of -4 degrees or lower in that September. And again, we have below average heights, low pressure to our north, above average heights to our west. But with this one kind of more towards the northwest, so there's a little bit more, I mean, it's not a cold signal overall, but there's a little bit more potential for cold snaps with this due to the alignment of the above average heights to the west and the below average heights to the north and northeast. There is a little bit more potential for cold snaps, if nothing else, during these Decembers. This is how all Januaries combined are looking following September's, with temperatures going down to -4 degrees or lower. Quite interesting. Above average heights centering around Greenland. Below average heights more towards our east and northeast. Winds tending to be more northerly. Definite cold snap potential for these Januaries. Again, the northern blocking is quite modest, so it's not particularly impressive in terms of the northern blocking, but nevertheless, there is definitely cold snap potential with these Januaries. All Februaries combined following September's with temperatures of -4 or lower tend to be anticyclonic, interestingly, tend to have higher pressure close to the country. So all you can say of that is probably quite dry and generally, I suppose, relatively mild with a lot of these Februaries as well, given the placement of the ridge is more towards like Western Europe. All Marches combined, following September's with a temperature of -4 degrees or lower, look like that. So high pressure out to our west, low pressure to our south. So it looks like we're setting up a bit of a solid tracking jet stream with these Septembers. Again, the blocking is quite modest. There's some lower pressure up here, so a real mess of these Marches. But I would have thought cold snap potential is there for those Marches, even if they are not in their own terms impressively cold. And then finally, all winters combined following September's with temperatures going down to -4 degrees or lower, looking like that. Generally, it is an unsettled signal for these winters with low pressure to our north, high pressure to our southwest. Winds tending to be from the west overall, but remember, there's a lot of intra-month variation going on there. Particularly the Januaries could have some cold snap potential. Now, the very last thing I've got to show you is this. So this is our key overlap year. This is something that we're doing that's new for these winter updates. So when we have like two batches of analogues, we are sort of combining the years that are overlapping within those two batches of analogues, if you see what I mean. Now, for this update, we actually only have one key analog year, which is the winter of 1919-1920, because September 1919 turned up in both sets of analogues, turned up in the 30-degree temperature analogues, but also in the -4 or lower analogues as well. So the winter of 1919-1920 is our one and only key overlap analog year. Again, just a reminder of this winter with low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south. We bring in the westies. It's a mild, wet, windy, Atlantic-driven winter overall, following a cold, very cold autumn in 1919. And that's it for this 4th Winter 2020-21 Update Part 2. Just say that if you have enjoyed this video and you're enjoying winter updates this season, then please can you click like on the video, give us a thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, let us know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids.com. We are on the grind to 8k subs, and if everybody who subscribes brings a friend, we will get to 8k subscribers that much quicker. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, so that's it for the 4th winter update, I suppose. We've done it in 2 parts, and there we go. So I hope you enjoy the 4th winter 2020 update parts 1 and 2. The 5th winter update part 1 is going to be released at 10 AM on Sunday. And again, we'll be looking at things like solar activity, sea surface temperature, what's happening with ENSO. We'll be seeing whether the snow cover is starting to advance across Siberia or not, and that will all be coming up on Sunday. Part 2 of the 5th Winter 2020 update going to be released on Monday, a week today, and that one is going to be focusing on September CT data, I think. So that's going to be a really, really interesting watch. The GavsWeatherVids.com Winter 2020-21 forecast is going to be released on Sunday. No, it's not going to be released on Wednesday, the 2nd of December. It's been a very, very long day, I have to say. Going to be released on Wednesday, the 2nd of December. And all of these updates, of course, as you know, are building up the picture to that winter forecast. So all of these updates are key in their own terms, but they're also, of course, providing the bigger picture, which is building up forensically on a week-by-week basis in 2 parts. The picture for the winter forecast. And so, yes, we are going to be releasing winter forecast from GavsWeatherVids on the 2nd of December 2020. Right, so if you enjoyed this video, then please give us a like. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you're subbed to the channel. The written version of this video is going to be released tomorrow morning. I'll get this video onto Winter Updates page at GavsWeatherVids.com tomorrow morning, and there'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. But for the 4th Winter 2020 update, parts 1 and 2, that's all for now, and thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.